Hey guys, it's Kay. I hope everyone's doing okay and staying inside and washing your hands and all of that good stuff. I'm going to be talking to you about copyrights, royalties, and how to get yours. So just quickly, according to the Canadian Intellectual Property Office, in general, copyright means the sole right to produce or reproduce a work or any substantial part of it in any form. It includes the right to perform the work or any substantial part of it. If the work is unpublished, copyright includes the right to publish the work or any substantial part of it. So basically, you have the right to produce it, reproduce it, and if you haven't published it yet, you own the right to publish it first, as well as perform it first. So proving your copyright, there's a couple of ways that you can do this. The Copyright Office of Canada exists exactly for this purpose. The only thing is it's $50 minimum to register a copyright, and there's a bunch of other fees for different things that you could need to do. You can also go through a lawyer who would provide a date stamp, witness it, and then archive it properly. You can also go through the Songwriters Association of Canada. It's not as official as, the Copyright Office of Canada or a lawyer, but they will keep an archive of your work that you can pull up later as proof that you own that copyright. So it's important to put a copyright notice on your stuff so that people know that it's protected under copyright. So in order to make it, you put the little copyright, or just the word, the year that it was originally published, and your name, or if you're a corporation, the corporation's name, or also your publisher. Yeah. So royalties come from your copyright. It's just, and again, according to the Canadian Intellectual Property Office, it's a sum paid to copyright owners for the sale or use of their works or other subject matter. Now, I'm sure this started a lot simpler, but as of now, there are a lot of different royalties that you can collect for owning different parts of a musical work. So I've got this handy dandy little table that just outlines the different kinds of rights and who you contact to get licensed to use music or to use different things. So Alexa talked about SOCAN, and they deal with performance rights. I'm going to be talking mainly about Resound and the neighboring rights, which has more to do with specific sound recordings, not the intellectual property of the song. And there's others that I know are being covered by other people. So performance rights, just going to go over quickly what Alexa went through, are royalties due to the owner of a copyrighted work when that work is performed or broadcast. So it goes to the person who owns the copyright of the song, not the recording. So SOCAN deals with this in Canada. SOCAN stands for Society of Composers, Authors, and Music Publishers of Canada. So it's a performance rights organization, a PRO. It collects and distributes royalties to the holder of the performance rights of a copyrighted work, and it is based in Canada. It's for Canadians. But they also work with PROs in other countries, so non-Canadian musicians get paid for Canadian plays and vice versa. You will get paid for streams and broadcasts and performances in other countries. So now on to neighboring rights. So neighboring rights originally weren't a thing. So up until 1997, only the copyright owners of a piece of music would get paid when it was played publicly or broadcasted, anything like that. But in 1997, the Copyright Act of Canada was amended to include artists who played on recordings of songs. So neighboring rights go to the personnel who played on a recording. And Resound deals with that in Canada. So Resound is an organization that collects and distributes royalties from neighboring rights. So it works similarly to SOCAN. It licenses businesses to play music. It then works with them to collect the royalties, on the tracks played. And then it distributes those royalties to musicians, publishers, or other organizations that also distribute. So in order to collect these royalties, you can register directly with Resound, or you can work with one of their affiliate organizations, which are MROC, Artisti, which is more French, and ACTRA, RACS. So these are very similar, but they don't directly work with businesses to collect the royalties. These three organizations get their royalties from Resound and then distribute it to the musicians and publishers. They also collect private copying royalties, which are royalties collected for the private copying of things like this, of music. And all three of these organizations split it up. 80% of the royalty goes to the featured artist and 20% goes to others. So, if you record in a studio and you have a bunch of session musicians, you'd get 80% of this specific royalty and your session musicians would get 20%. So I've got a fun little infograph about how Resound works. So the Copyright Board of Canada sets royalty rates, and all these other organizations have to follow suit. And then Resound will contact businesses and inform them of their legal responsibility to be properly licensed to play music. And there are a lot of different broadcasting agencies and businesses that need to get properly licensed. So there's commercial radio, non-commercial radio, CBC, definitely, pay audio, which is actually like cable stuff, so I think it's called Stingray, different channels on cable TV that play music, satellite radio, music streaming, but not on-demand streaming. It's a very specific kind of streaming, because I understand like Apple Music and Spotify have other agreements. Background music in retail stores, bars, anything like that where they're playing music to create an atmosphere, they have to get properly licensed. Dance and fitness studios, if they're using music, they need to get properly licensed. As well as live events, so, like a hockey game, they play music in between, they need to get properly licensed. So there's a lot of royalties that legally need to get collected for this sort of thing. And Resound does that. So they contact all of these businesses that need to get properly licensed. And then it's up to the music users, these businesses, to report to Resound the tracks that they've played. So just a list of all of the tracks that they've played, and then they pay the royalties on it. And it's not a whole bunch of money. The Resound website says it comes up to less than $1 a day. So it's not much, but it adds up. And so Resound then collects those and distributes it in 3 different ways. It can go to the royalties can go to other organizations, like the 3 I mentioned before. They can go directly to people who are members of Resound, and they also go to international organizations who then distribute it. Yeah, so basically there are a lot of royalties to be collected when a piece of music is written, recorded, published, all of that. So it's really important to get registered with all of these different kinds of organizations, even if you're not writing your own music. If you're a session musician, you could be missing out on a lot of royalties that are very important. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully I'll see everyone at some point again. Yeah, get your money.